It's interesting. People are starting to talk Deshaun Watson up a little bit as mandatory mini camp has gotten going, and they've seen ball's not hitting the turf very much in Berea, and the arm looks sharp, and Deshaun Watson's looking pretty good. Take a listen to Jason McCourty, NFL Network's Good Morning Football, about Deshaun Watson.
I look at him now coming back, and you talked about 2020. Oh, well, that's 2020. But I look at the surrounding cast around him on offense. And you talked about Amari Cooper. They brought in Elijah Moore, hoping that he can take off coming from the Jets on that side. But then also on the offensive line, whether it's Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, 2 Pro Bowlers last year. Jack Conklin was an All-Pro with the Tennessee Titans. Nick Chubb is there. And to be able to hand the ball off to a running back and let him just do his thing makes things incredibly easy on a quarterback. And so for Deshaun Watson, you come back last year, you knocked the rust off, and now you come back, you have an entire offseason, not only to improve your skill set, but now to get to know the guys around you. Think about what this locker room had to be like last year. Deshaun Watson joins your team all offseason. We're not talking about the Browns this year, right now in the offseason. All we talked about was the Browns last offseason. So for the players, you had Jacoby Brissett there, the awkwardness, all right, now Deshaun's back. Well, Jacoby's been leading us the whole time. There's been no question marks this offseason. Deshaun's the guy. He's improving each and every day. We know him now. We're not answering questions about him after every practice. Now we can focus on football. And I think the Browns are a team that once the games start, we're saying, all right, we're not talking about him now. We'll be talking about him in September.
And G. Bush, that's good. You know, the last couple of off seasons have been crazy with COVID and the whole Deshaun and all the legal problems. So it's probably good that that nobody's talking about the Browns right now.
Yeah, you see it. I got to take my glasses off. See, we talked about these lists. We talked about them all off season. We've talked about how Deshaun Watson, they got the Browns 23rd, Deshaun Watson, sometimes even mid to late 20s in terms of quarterback play. And I think people need to realize something. I mean, he didn't play in like a whole 2 years. He didn't even practice. Like, he was just out there. And then how fast and how crazy it is to come in the middle of a season at a position like quarterback where it's mental. You're thinking about reading where my guys at, no timing with the receivers, and you're coming in when everybody in the NFL is in playoff push mode. That means they all got all the butterflies, the jitters are out, they've made multiple adjustments. Some of them had a bye week. So these guys are in full mid-season form, and you're just coming back and you haven't even played in preseason. So obviously he was not going to play very well, and I think we did him a disservice, including myself, by telling people, drinking a Kool-Aid, saying that he going to come back and be 7-0. You put all this expectation on him. Now the backlash comes, and they're like, "Oh, well, he's not even good no more." I'm sorry, sir. You've greatly foretold the demise of Deshaun Watson. And when you start to see this, how the industry works, I was laughing and joking. Tyvis Powell texted us. I was on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. He said, "G. Bush, he's looking like Tom Brady out there." I said, "What? What?" I come back. Mary Kay says, "You know what? This is one of the best performances I've seen in camp from a quarterback in a Brown." I say, "Dang!" Dale Ryder comes back. He said, "Man, I have not seen a football touch the ground. It hasn't." And then Jason Lloyd said, I can't call him Brady, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that he might look like Dan Marino today." Now, when all these people start, and then that trickles out, down to the national media, and by the time they get it, like, listen, the show you just saw, Good Morning Football, they said we got to get out in front of this thing. We got to get it on the front. We need to be the first to the party. Don't be late for your own party. They've got it, and what they're starting to see is, hold on, wait a minute. If Deshaun Watson is anywhere close to what he was before, the Cleveland Browns have a roster where they can compete at a high level. They got ball players. They got Chubb, and they got Myles Garrett, and they got a decent offensive line. Amari Cooper is just a solid number one. They start to see what we see a little bit. So I think you're going to see, as the season wears on and as camp wears on, and they start looking better and better and better, you're going to start to see people come back around and say, hold on, let's reevaluate the Cleveland Browns because they might have something going on special this year.
Yep, the joint practices. Keep an ear out for what you hear from joint practices because that'll tell you quite a bit.